Lonely by Let Me Read You a Story. Beautiful, young, married to a successful husband, and was as close as anything to her many friends. Harriet had everything one could ever want. Unloading the last box as her and her newlywed Brad moved into her uptown house, she finally settled down to relax for the night. She and Brad spoke of all the things they planned to do, starting their new lives together. They talked of the get-togethers they planned to host, many of their friends eager to see the new house. Harriet messaged her friends, asking when they were free. Her phone lit up, all of them saying they would love to see it as soon as possible. Harriet texted her friends all night, raving about all the events they were planning together. She went to bed that night, feeling more love in her life than she had ever felt. The next morning, wanting to start her new life on the right foot, she went for a walk to meet the locals. Harriet leisured around, smiling and greeting those she met. She took a deep breath, taking in the fresh air, falling in love with the place. Continuing her walk, she spotted an old man sitting peacefully by himself on a park bench. Feeling she needed to take a break, she sat herself beside him. "Good morning," the old man chirped. "It is, isn't it?" Harriet replied. "You must be new here. I don't recall seeing your face, and I never forget a face." "Yes, I am as it goes." "I'm Jim. Nice to meet you." Jim held out a hand. Harriet was caught off guard by his forwardness, but shook his hand anyway. "Harriet." "Nice to meet you, Harriet. Made any friends in town yet?" "Well, I'm hoping to have my old friends over to see the house when it's ready." "Has it been a while since you last saw them?" With a phone, they're never more than a call away, as I always say." "That's good to hear. Are you waiting for someone?" "No. This is all I have planned for the day." Harriet paused. "Sitting by yourself?" she asked curiously. "Wouldn't you like to spend time with your friends and family?" "Sadly, by my age, most of your friends have moved on. It's just old me now." Harriet expected Jim to be sad, but he still held a merry smile. "Well, if you're happy with that." "Oh yes, I am, thank you." Harriet, clearly confused why he was so content with his life, had nothing left to add. "I'll leave you to it then." "It was lovely meeting you, Harriet." Later that day, Harriet prepared dinner. The clock turned 7, and Brad was yet to return home from work, and so she ate dinner by herself. Her phone lit up once again, her friends sending her photos of them enjoying themselves at various gatherings. Harriet and the girls all commented on how it looked like a great time, and how they wished they were there. Again the conversation turned to when they would all come to see Harriet. Again they insisted they would come soon as they had the time. The clock turned well past 8 before an exhausted Brad finally returned home. "Ah, finally!" Harriet danced over and hugged him, Brad too tired to return the favour. "Sorry, honey, work was hell." "This was just a one-off, wasn't it?" "I'm sure it will be, after we get the new agreement set up with the company." "And how long will that take?" "Not long, dear, I promise." Harriet could barely raise a smile. "I made you dinner. Maybe we could catch a movie." "Oh, thank you, but right now I just want to go to bed." "Oh, okay, sleep tight." Harriet paused before shaking it off as a one-off. The next weekend rolled around quickly. Harriet hoped one of her friends would have been available to come see her, but they were still busy, and Brad was still sleeping from another late night, so she went for another walk. She passed familiar faces, saying hello as she did before. Harriet was surprised to see Jim, again, sitting alone on the same park bench. Having nothing better to do, she went over to see him. "Ah, Harriet!" Jim smiled widely at her, and she couldn't help but smile back. She sat next to him, and the two caught up. "So, do you have anyone special in your life?" Jim asked. "Well, in fact, I just got married." "Oh, that's wonderful. The two of you must have so much planned." "Oh, absolutely. When he has the time, that is." "What do you mean?" "He's been working late every night since we moved in. It's only temporary. Once we're back to normal, then off we go with all our plans." "Well, if you ever need some company, you know where to find me." "Oh, thanks for the offer, but I'm sure for the next few months I'm going to be quite busy." "Always good to keep yourself busy, isn't it?" Harriet was confused by this remark, seeing that his plans consisted of sitting on the same park bench weekend after weekend. "Do you have any plans for yourself then?" Harriet asked, intrigued. "As I said before, someone has to keep this seat warm." Harriet smirked, not knowing if it was a joke. Needing to get on with her day, she waved goodbye to a still cheerful Jim and went home. Nearly a month had passed since Harriet moved in. Yet again she sat eating dinner alone. She had long had everything ready for her friends to come visit, but as much as she pushed them, all her friends were still too busy. Harriet spent the night scrolling through her phone, looking onto the seemingly eventful lives of her friends and family before falling asleep. Still, having her plans on hold, Harriet headed out once more, and sure enough, found Jim sitting on his bench, alone. "Morning," Jim rang out. "Morning," Harriet grunted, sitting beside him. "Why so down?" "I'm fine." "Are you sure? You seem a little lonely." Harriet couldn't help but snigger at this. "I don't think you need to worry about me being lonely." "Well, are you?" "I have a loving husband and plenty of friends." "Just because you aren't alone doesn't mean you aren't lonely. I hardly think you're the person to lecture me on being lonely." "Who said I was lonely?" "You sit on this bench all day by yourself talking to strangers." "But we're not strangers. I know your name as you know mine. I know about your husband and your friends, and you know the same about me." "So you made one friend." At that moment a couple walked past. "Morning, Carol." Jim waved to the couple as they both smiled back. "Nice to see you again, Jim. How's life?" the husband asked. "Happy as always, Brian. How's little Isaac doing?" "Oh, he's doing much better now. He should be back to his old self in no time." "Lovely to hear." The couple continued with their walk. Harriet watched as smug Jim slowly turned back to her. "Did you think you were the only person to pass me on their travels?" Harriet paused, surprised. "I sit here every day so I can see my friends. Some are old, some are new, and some are yet to be. But be assured that though I sit here alone, I have not been lonely a day in my life. I know it may seem you have more friends than one could ever dream of, but ask yourself, if they are not willing to put in the effort to spend time with you, nor would you do the same for them, then are they really your friends?" Harriet pondered on this thought. She got to her feet and started walking away. She turned back to see Jim still smiling, sitting in his own little world, and she couldn't help but smile. "Are you free for dinner?" Harriet asked. Jim turned and smiled at her. "I thought you'd never ask." Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing to hear more from this channel.